way. Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew Leaf, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Welcome back, guys. We just saw our first map there between SK Gaming and Luminosity, and what could have definitely went in the way of Luminosity, it didn't quite pan out that way, did it, boys?
No, it was looking really solid at the start, though. What was it, 6-1 lead? Obviously, SK on an eco, and then Cold Zero happened. Obviously, and it comes off the back of, you saw one of the highlights towards the end of the map there. You see Showtime spraying down 3 people. That's normally a good sign of things to come. Instead, and here we have it on our screen as well. Like, that should normally set you up for a round victory, but then, the pedigree of SK just comes shining through. But I was getting a little bit worried, I have to admit, because we saw that when Luminosity played versus Renegades on Cobble yesterday. They were pretty solid.
Yeah.
So this just really took the breath out of them. And to be fair, I mean, you can't really blame them, because this is a round you should be able to win, 99 out of 100 times.
Well, we've said this many times. We've said SK Gaming is a team that has this sort of resiliency, right, where they can come in and they can be these problem solvers. And I think we just witnessed that in real time. When they had their backs against the wall there in the first half, they were able to kind of put it all together, crunch some numbers, and say, hey, this is where we're going wrong. Pimp, what did you see?
I mean, it's all like we're a little bit, not like exactly like, but like the old NIP squad. Like, whenever you faced them, you knew that you're going to lose before you entered the server, So even though you're up 7-1 or you were leading like 9-2 or something like that, you knew they would come back, they would fight back. And I feel like for a team like Luminosity, they probably got ahead of themselves, 6-1, they had a great start, felt like everyone was under control. Showtime gets the 3K, they get ahead of themselves. They start, showing that inexperience that the SK guys doesn't have, and they take fully advantage of it. So it's just like, it's the gap between the really, really good players and the almost just as good players, and it will always be like that. And
I think it also goes to show what you mentioned, yesterday when we saw SK play, the fact that they take all these online games super seriously. They want to win every single game, and obviously it adds on to it that the fact they're going up against fellow Brazilians, right? So there's even more to play for, but it's very easy for a team, expected to do well in this season to kind of ease off the pedal in a situation like that. You kind of get knocked out and you're not really able to get a foothold in the game, and it's one of those games that kind of just runs away from you. Not the case with SK. Not
the case with SK, a team that can put it together. I mean, they're just a very good, solid core, a very much a proven roster. I mean, I don't think you can take anything away from that, right? This is a team that has it all. They've got it figured out. And right now they might have found a little bit of a rough patch in the past couple of weeks, whether it be Summit, whatnot. But again, you cannot count out SK Gaming. Now, flipping the script and looking at Luminosity, though, we saw a streak of flashiness there from Yell.
Yeah, just continuing his good form from yesterday as well. Really cool to see that he's able to deliver that kind of performance versus a team like SK as well. So even though he's able to get into the 20s in terms of frags and everything, doesn't quite result into multiple rounds for Luminosity, but it's still positive showing for them. And they did have individuals stepping up from time to time. It's just like as a whole, it didn't really do a whole lot for them, in the grand scheme of things.
No, I mean, you have to look at the positive sides, as you're saying. They did play up with SK in the beginning, and that's still like they need to get that confidence going again. And this time around, they just need to not drop the ball basically and just keep focusing, because it is the difference between you being super experienced and being able to take advantage of those small mistakes. If you don't make them, there's nothing to take advantage of, so you force SK to go even a higher gear, and who knows if they're actually able to do that right now. And as you said, like a little bit of a, wouldn't call it a slump period, but more like they're regaining strength, to start off the year. So this is the time for Luminosity to actually make something out of it.
Well, guys, I want to ask you this, though. I mean, Luminosity, obviously the younger team out of the two, having a much shorter sort of accomplishment list, and ironically, this SK lineup playing underneath that banner at one point. So it's weird how that works out. But nonetheless, talk to me a little bit about the structure when it comes to coming up to the ranks, and how does that work, Pimp?
I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? And first of all, you have to find the right players to play with and the right teammates to play with. You got to have like this similar ambitions, I'd say. So it doesn't matter if you have two guys who are really keen on it, want to play or practice 10 hours a day, where you have 3 other guys who are just down to willing to practice 3 hours a day. You got to find like level-headed guys who think the same as yourself. You got to find players who has the same mentality as you, or otherwise it's going to go wrong at some point. So, there's a lot into it, but there's some small details in there where you just got to find people who you can, see yourself in, basically, and chase the same goals with.
Vibe with. Common goals, ultimately trying to find the end of the same tunnel there. Let's go ahead and check in with some of the pro players we talked to and just how to get up there higher in the ranks.
Describe how to go pro in CSGO using 3 words or less.
Play a lot. There you go. Watch, learn, and practice.
Dedication, desire, discipline.
3Ds, the 3Ds.
You got it.
Get good, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Just any other 3 words or that?
No. Demos, deathmatch, communication.
Dedication, focus, and fun.
I mean, it all comes down to
3 words.
3 words. Shit.
Oh, says 1.
Sorry. Fun, practice, connections.
Play a lot.
Play a lot. Dedication, motivation. Yeah, that's probably the 2 keywords for me.
I don't know. Learn to lose, I guess.
Yeah.
Practice, patience, and trust from your teammates.
Play, deathmatch play.
Play deathmatch play.
Train.
That was easy.
Game.
Work, passion, and dream.
Be patient.
Dedication, passion, and be constant. Consistency.
Hard work and motivation.
Train. And he's not talking about the map. And nor are we heading there. We're going to be looking at SK and LG over on Cash here real shortly. The second map in the set, of course, here, SK Gaming taking the best of Luminosity there in the first one. Guys, should we expect a different showing here? Do you think that the wind in the sails of Luminosity might be just a little bit lesser than it was a minute ago?
One of the worries I have is what we saw from Luminosity yesterday versus Renegades. We talked about how they made, kind of like, baby mistakes in that sense. It's like very fundamental stuff that you should have down at this point when you're playing in Pro League, and it's just very basic stuff, doing executions, using your utility properly, and actually being able to commit as a team and actually fully push into a site and that kind of thing. They nearly got away with it versus Renegades, who again, new roster, they have stuff to work with on their own. I don't think that's going to be the case versus SK. It's just a really tough task to have to go up against a team that's so structured, just kind of has a plan B for every sort of scenario if you can't execute properly. So we have to see Luminosity step it up, at least 2 notches if they're going to have a fighting chance in this.
Well, this is a team that has been exposed to just about every situation you can think of within the game. I mean, there should be no shortage of perhaps answers to some of the problems they could face in this Luminosity matchup.
I mean, obviously SK has pretty much answers for everything, but let's take in fact it is the map Cash. It's not usually SK's best map, and it's one of those maps they tried to implement. What is it, half a year ago or something like that, where they didn't really play it too much, and then got it implemented into the map pool with Phelps in the days, and they've always been okay on it. They sometimes pick it even and feel confident on it, but the results are not that saying in terms of like when you look at a map like Mirage or for that matter Cobblestone, which are probably one of the best on in the world. I don't think Cash is one of those maps where SK are just winning out straight every single time. So LG, yes, we saw them play yesterday against Renegades. It wasn't that pretty. They could have won it, wasn't it, for Nifty and then 4K. They probably would have ended with it anyway. Yep. And LG has some sort of like weird fetish with always playing close on Cash, no matter who they face. So I think it's going to be a close game. Obviously, SK is probably going to take it, but they always make it close somehow.
Yeah, I mean, since we're on the subject of fetishes. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, this should be a close game nonetheless. I think some of this is going to carry over from that first half there on Cobblestone, where you just see LG come out the gate swinging.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm a little bit worried about for Luminosity versus Renegades, we saw them have a very strong trend of leaning towards the B bomb side. They're doing a lot of B to mid splits. Or mid to B splits a lot of the time, and again, depending on familiarity with the players and so on, obviously that should most of the time favor the underdog in domestic rivalries. But again, I think SK, that's kind of stuff they pick up on really easily, and they would know how to handle that kind of pressure and adapt to that kind of a situation. So I'm really hoping that Luminosity has something more to play off of than that being the main core of their entire T-side approach.
Well, the T-side approach. I mean, within Cash though. We could talk a little bit about AWPs. That seems to be our storyline here across some of these teams. Is this going to be a battle of ops here on Cash?
It could potentially be, especially with Yell in the form he's in right now. we saw it yesterday. He was playing well on Cash, and he needs to do it again. And Cash is one of those maps where, at least if you have a like semi-aggressive AVP player or aggressive AVP player, he can do pretty much everything. Nifty is one of those guys who's really good on Cash, you know, and doing retakes as well with AVP. There's a lot of room for the AVP and Cash to move around, and there's a lot of plays you can make. The problem for I think Yale is that SK is such a fundamental strong team that they're not gonna give up those peaks easily. You know, yesterday he got them a little bit against Renegades because they were not playing too well either themselves. So it's going to be a much tougher task today, and where every player comes in on Cash, it's in the retake scenarios, and how well does he actually mess into the entire team plan and the team game, which is going to be tougher to actually do against a team like SK, who are so well structured, and as you said, you know, been out for every single situation you probably can't face them with in this game.
Yeah, and a bit of a different task that they also have to take into consideration going up against SK is that obviously they play a very different style of CS, especially on Cash, compared to what Renegades do. So when we look at the CT sides of Renegades yesterday, fairly passive, fairly standard in that sense. When they changed up things, it was, you know, a couple of B aggressions that didn't really pan out, or they were stacking towards middle, obviously due to what Luminosity were doing with a lot of B splits there. But on the side of SK, you know, they have Fur kind of just running rampant anywhere he wants. He likes to be aggressive towards A main. He likes to go aggressive into mid as well. Fallen, we see him picking up the off, actually, you know, either getting flashed in towards Squeaky or actually just taking it upon himself, depending on spawn, to just get that early frag. And that's something Luminosity has to be very ready to deal with, because obviously if you want to play a default style initially, you can't allow yourself to get picked off and start pretty much the round right off the bat with a 4v5.
For sure.
Starting 4v5 is a deficit no one really wants to start the round with. Now, look, boys, I know there's been some hiccups in your prediction game plan, Pimp, and ultimately we can't help you with that, and nor is it my job. But I'm going to have to ask you, where do you think this one lies?
I think you guys are rude, you know.
Not wrong, but you know.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I'd say you're on the right path.
I'm the only one, you know, playing the game. You guys are just playing it safe, playing it boring. You know, I'm out here to win it.
Well, I mean, going 1-for-1.
Go big.
The
or
first
go
matchup is not the way to win it.
Let
me tell you.
It's fine. I think SK is going to win it. Obviously, no surprise here. I think it's going to be closer than maybe some of you guys expect. You know, so I'm still ahead of you guys.
You guys. You guys.
Everybody in there. But I think it's going to be a close game. Something like along the lines like 16-12 maybe for SK. It's going to be a close one, and it's going to be room for LG to actually pick up map win here.
Okay. Real quick, do you think the same thing?
Not as hopeful. Well, I think the same thing in terms of SK winning, but I don't think it's going to be as close as Pimp is hoping for.
Well, we got to give Pimp a little something around here, and a bone might just do it. On the other end, our commentators are now fueled back up. We've let them eat. We've let them leave the room. Believe it or not, they're ready to work, and you know they might have a little catch-up still there on their side. That's fine. There it is, the beautiful Jason Moses O'Toole.
I'm never ready to work, Trace.
Yeah, well,
never ready for it.
You say beautiful.
Pimp's throwing out that fake news over here. Yeah, things you guys think.
Yeah,
it's very
explicitly.
divisive.
Explicitly,
yeah, very divisive.
How about this? I'm gonna see you later.
Yes, we are gonna get the second map. Luminosity SK going head-to-head. This time on Cash. I like bringing up Fur with his aggression because there's so many places you can do it on this map. This is gonna be very fun to watch. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely so. And Jason, I'm kind of curious, what way are you leaning? I can probably already guess.
Yeah, well, I don't even know why you're curious. I don't go against SK too frequently. There's not a whole lot of times I'm gonna predict against them, except for, I don't know. Ooh, that's a nice shot. That's a nice shot with a P250, using that first bullet accuracy well. Tapping away. Happy Gilmore over here in mid.
I think as the play-by-play, I can afford to be the ballsy one and say I think Luminosity are going to win.
Well, you've lost your mind. It was bound to happen. Day 2 is a bit earlier than I expected.
You know, I'm gonna be the Mega Pimp, which actually, now I've said it, doesn't sound like the best title.
Is that like a hybrid between Mega Man and Pimp?
Oh, what a creation that would be! But here we go. As we head into this pistol round, we've already seen that PT50 do damage down in mid, and that was onto Neck as he's been tagged low. SK, they're setting up for a B play here. They've got control of vents, and Luminosity, they're kind of weary of that fact. They've started to rotate players back.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part is they have none of the information, right, with that mid control. Now, because they cheated the rotations, as you mentioned, they're going to get there very quick, which is quite nice. Initial kills all go the way of Luminosity, and actually, SK makes no progress into the bomb site. Now that 4 players are here, it should, I say should, be a win for Luminosity, but still, Bolts and coldzera, we've seen the way they can turn rounds the other way very quickly, and coldzera waiting for that peek from Yell. Doesn't happen. Now they have to aggress upon the site. The smoke is gone. The USPs of this range are deadly, and from Cold Zero, and there's only 15 seconds to find these kills and get the bomb planted, and it's just not going to happen. Oh! That is sick, but still a long way to go, and yeah, the bomb is just out of reach, so just hide. No one needs to peek at all from Luminosity, and that's a win, although you can see it gets sketchy. You always believe.
And I mean, it's kind of terrifying when Cold Zero is landing shots like what we just saw. The nice little quick peek into the site doesn't lead to anything, but it's a good sign of things that are still to come. So now we've got Luminosity with the pistol around under their belts. The force spy going to come in from SK. They didn't get that bomb down, and they're very proficient in these force spies. So the pressure's still on here for Luminosity, and they're going to go ahead and turn their attention early on, at least over here towards main. And Nade goes in. I figured it might have done a bit more damage to Bolts, but he does luck out and only gets tagged down to 85, so he's feeling fresh. But yeah, for the time being, SK just holding a default, waiting to see if they can catch any Luminosity players. Perhaps going for any sort of information play. Luminosity don't want to give them the satisfaction.
Taco just toying with him with his door.
Ooh. Having
a good old time. And SK hasn't really made a move anywhere. Fallen does have that scout, and he's got a full kit of utility as well. You imagine that would be for the cross into the A bomb site. Block off that gap between Forklift and the red box. We'll have to see what he can do. No one from Luminosity really showing themselves, and actually looks like they kind of want to split this site. So Fern Bolt's boosted up. That might be for a delayed play out mid. Here comes the smoke. Fallen going to take the scout towards door, and he's alone with the bomb as well, which is scary in its own right. Molotov going to make sure Taco's all alone. That's an easy kill for Yell. But here comes the main strength of this hit.
Now it's gone up into main, and Ekis turns his attention on towards Highway, and it only leaves Bolts from this avenue. Cold Zero is able to go ahead and find Showtime down in mid. That causes a couple of problems, as now he's got an M4 to work with. He is 1 versus 4, though, and Cello will be quick to shut him down. Oh, Cello, I don't know if he found the M4 at the end there. I don't think he did. Now he's got himself a FAMAS, so he wasn't able to pick that up.
It's a very cool tactic, though, from SK. That smoke top mid. The pressure actually comes from Highway, while the rest of Luminosity is focused towards A main, even though it was cleared out. Fallen throws one more pop flash from door into the bomb site to try and give him, you know, a second or two to blow up through that smoke. And in a different world with a different positioning, it might just work. That time, though, Luminosity was in a great spot to defend against it, and Yale wants to get even more aggressive. Pop flash coming in. Cheats behind the box. He does go down. He only gets 1, but plenty of information found. He knows there were 2 more in A main. Nade doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but there's no smoke, so these M4s at distance can do a lot of damage. Can do plenty of it.
Yeah, they're still stacked up outside of it. You're hoping that this is kind of the maximum amount of damage that can be done. This boost is nice, though. Actually, there's a tiny gap up in the top left. Fur's allowed to do some damage down onto PKL. So now things get a little bit scary. These pistols... Ooh, Bolts get some heavy damage off onto Neckers. He's going to go down, and no, not like this Luminosity. PKL's next man to fall, and that's a bomb plant secured for SK. They're going to take that all day long, and I mean, the pressure's still on right now for Luminosity. There's an M4 and a UMP on the site. Fur and Cold Zero left. If there were 2 players I wouldn't want to be coming into in this retake, these would be the 2 that I'd put forward. Showtime and Cello. They have their work cut out for the main punch going to play into this. That nade should find great damage. That's actually going to dunk Fur out. Cold Zero's left, and he falls. A valiant attempt. And a bomb plant secured. Only 2 players surviving. SK aren't going to be disappointed with that.
I don't understand how SK just so consistently makes something out of nothing. I didn't think they had a single chance to even get into the site at a certain point, and they do make it work. In another world, if that nade isn't in Cello's hands, perhaps even SK is able to win that round. Regardless, the plant's going to help out. Obviously, those 3 kills, look at what it's done to the economy with a lot of those rebuys. It's not the greatest money behind Luminosity's purchase here. We are going to see a very cool... Both Oppers have that weapon in their hands, Fallen and Yell.
And yeah, he's taking that over towards mid. He's playing it on sandbags.
There's 3 players in mid, actually, so big investment of manpower to holding that portion of the map.
Fur's boosted up. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Yell, and Yell misses that shot with 3 players there. You hope someone would have peeked out and maybe tried to help, but Fur catches him alone in the middle of mid.
There's no one who can help at that angle.
Yeah.
Neck it's too shallow beneath. Cello's in vents. I mean, Yell's lucky to even be alive at this point, to be quite honest. He's caught out in the open. So now Neckez is isolated. Molotov in towards vents, and Neckez is the only one here. If they check beneath him, he's just dead, and that's exactly what happens, although Neckez gets the kill. coldzera's up next, though, and you're not going to get away from him too frequently.
PKL's able to find Taco, and actually Showtime now drops out coldzera, so SK, they had a very clear-cut advantage in the beginning of this round, but that's actually started to elude them here. They're going to slowly progress out from main, and PKL has to be careful. As that incendiary goes in, not only does it miss the mark, but now they know where he is. And Fallen slowly but surely clears this site with bolts at his side. Bomb plant looks to come in. Go ahead and get that down. It is going to be for me. Now Fallen might try his hand at a peek, starts to look round, spot Showtime out on the truck, but he pays for it with his life, and now it's Bolts able to get one. He has to clutch this out. It was a 1v2. He has to get the 3K for the win. Peeks into it, and Showtime goes down. Bolts, he gets the job done. And that's SK answering back with their first round. And what a round it was.
Yeah, it's gutting for Luminosity, and this is even worse. They have to buy here, it feels like, because they got it down to just bolts, so they know they're on the verge of resetting the other economy. And even though they can't scrape together the best buy in the world, they have to kind of do it for early control of the money. And they are going to drop an op over to Yell. Showtime with the FAMAS 3 CZs in their other hands. They want to get aggressive. Bolts is waiting for it. That's an easy kill onto the opening player. That's the FAMAS down. Cello does recover it. Just clutched the previous round, starting this one out. There's a lot of presence over here towards the B bomb site for Luminosity, and SK's content so far without chasing, without overextending, just doing some damage, getting information. Look at all the rotations they've called. Luminosity feels so much pressure towards the B bomb site. They're not even messing with A.
Yeah, they've still got Tack up and Squeaky, and you imagine if he does go investigating along with Fur, that bomb is going to be quick to head in towards this A bomb. So Bolt's now doing a great job of settling this fake. He's kept 3 players here. PKL has rotated off, but the AWP, the FAMAS, it's all here. It's all on B. PKL is going to find himself effectively 1v4 up here on A. Playing it passively from truck does at least give him a lifeline to stay alive.
Honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world that Luminosity has done this, because essentially they just gamble. Like, they don't move from the B bomb site now. Bolts does have them locked in, which is unfortunate, but you want to keep the AWP, you want to keep the FAMAS in your hands for the next round and try it all over again. Bolts is going to get so blind. 9 HP, he's got to be hunted down. Cello's opened up an avenue for them to retreat, and even Yell chiming in onto Taco. SK still keeping up the pressure, though. Still want to take everything away, but there's Yell with another one. It's been costly for SK, but it is valuable that they go for these. You can see coldzera and Fallen much more passive, much less willing to risk their life for it. So it is going to be a second round for SK, and Luminosity is going to have some toys to play with in the next round. I don't think they're going to invest. Maybe they do, because the money's still poor on the SK side of things. But that'd be a big, big risk to take early on in this game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the decision is for this one. Yeah, I was going to go ahead and invest in armor, but I think that's probably going to be it for them. Just a little bit more to put up behind the AWP. Negates the aim punch that he would otherwise be facing, and doesn't leave him in a situation where he is too screwed into the next round. But it's going to be a very fast play out towards A. They don't want to give these scavenge weapons a chance to get anything done. And in they come. Neckez is able to get one, but it is a slaughter over here on A. 3 players down already. Yell is still up and alive with the AWP on truck. He's going to be sent back. And SK, they know they haven't found him yet. He's the man with the AWP. They want to try and take this out of his hands if they can. And while Showtime is going to be over in connected to try and help out. It's not looking too great for him here. Fallen comes peeking on in. He will go down. Now it's Yell left 1 versus 4, desperately trying to cling on to this AWP. It's the potential salvation in the next round. He is going to find it a little bit tricky to buy, so holding on to this would be worth its weight in gold for Luminosity.
I think Fallen will go for this unless coldzera is there. So you might see him right at the end making a late play. As Yell got a peek, he's just trying to hide. They've spotted him out. There's the leg shot. Oh, is he going to go down? No, he saves his own life. Had to fight his way out 3-3, but that off, Yell's just refusing to lose it. So many times SK has gone for it at the end of these rounds. SK picks up the pace of the previous one with that A hit, but they had Fur over towards the B bomb site, being aggressive and making sure that Luminosity is locked in to go for the hunt at the end. Doesn't pan out, but you can see the idea behind it. So a much better buy for Luminosity coming out off the back of this saved op. Fallen peering in deep towards the B site, sees nothing. 3 players here right off the bat, though, so they can do a much better job of getting checkers control, having to force Luminosity into being uncomfortable for a very long time in this round, although Taco's brought down to 23.
Snuck by out into middle. coldzera's going to be there with him. They have got control of mid, and Neckers is going to try and go blow for blow with Fur. Holds it close in the smoke, but Fur skirts on by. And that's Neckers down and out for the count. Man advice taken for SK, and that's once again a good start.
Such a gamble toying with those smokes, and with his death, there's no information, there's no control of mid. Thankfully, PKL is pushed up in towards A main, so they lose map control in one place and gain it elsewhere. Taco's dropped the AWPs. At times been a valuable second opper for SK, and he's just going to perch up because he doesn't have the health to actually attack a bomb site. Here's PKL, Fallen jumps across, coldzera with the trade. And it's just Yell with the op in the A bomb site.
And he's been a force to be reckoned with in so many of these rounds. He turns his attention down at mid, and that's the last thing he sees. Fur finishes him off. 2 versus 4. Cello and Showtime left alive here for Luminosity. And once again, I think we're going to have to see Luminosity opt to try and save.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, they're going to have to do something. Taco's still perched up on boost. He hasn't moved. His only job has been to prevent anyone from coming mid from that CT, that mid choke point. Showtime still sticking around truck. And SK, they're content to just win this round. This round, there's no hunt coming in at the end, so it'll be a 4th. But the dangerous thing for Luminosity is they're just getting peeled all the way across this map. They're getting picked apart.
Yeah, it just feels like wherever, SK kind of take control wherever they want to. It doesn't seem like there's much of a challenge coming in from Luminosity. They try to handle the aggression over a mid, toying around the smokes, as you say, from Neckers, and that loses them control of mid. You have PKL aggressive in main, which is like some form of compensation at least, but as he goes down, no one's there to trade. And so that man advantage is just maintained, then it falls to Yell in effectively a 1v4 inside of that site, all on his lonesome. He falls from the lack of presence in mid. Now, going to be a stack over here towards A. Yell's left alone to lock down this B angle. Going to be watching it with the AWP. And he does have bolts coming his way. Holds down the angle, and actually Bolts is going to find it. That's disastrous for Luminosity. Now they've got no information down here on B. Showtime, luckily enough, going to find some sort of retort over in mid. But still, the AWP's down.
Ooh, that's a duel that coldzera would probably like to have back. Not able to finish off Showtime with 3 HP. Taco opens the door, spots one. I don't think he saw Cello get the forklift, but he did see PKL. Just keeping a presence here at Squeaky Door. There's Bolts peering up in towards the A site. Gonna Molotov PKL out of position, but he's already moved, so that fire isn't gonna hurt him whatsoever. Aw, Cello, you're not gonna get away with that one, but Bolts is there and a free kill, essentially. Taco's got to step up now. He's got a couple low HP players. Does have a kill on the board now. His first kill of the game. He wants to get more, wants to double it up, and he is. Showtime is the next point of attack. Because everyone has such low HP, though, none of these guys from Luminosity can actually stop the progression into the bomb site. It's so difficult to take fights when you only have those 3 HP. Fallen wisely just going to drop the bomb over the smoke. Grab position with the AWP as Taco plants. It's a missed shot you don't see too frequently, but still advantage towards SK.
Yeah, Fallen going to play back from main. That is what the bomb is playing for. Fallen gets rid of Showtime. Did he spot Nekkers? Nekkers is there. How about a drop out Fallen now? It's a 1 versus 1. And Taco's been a little bit quiet for SK in this map. Bomb time is ticking down, though Nekkers has to move swiftly if he wants to have any chance at making this work. Goes for the play, and Taco, he wins it out in the 1v1. 3 frags for him there in that round. And his first 3 of the game come at a very important time. SK Gaming going to be up 5-3 now.
Yeah, definitely. This is very nice T-side put together by SK. They have won all the gun rounds, so here's the switch up. Here's the adjustment. Luminosity finally with enough money. They switch into a double up setup. Showtime with one, Yell with the other. Yell's going to take his towards A, Showtime towards B. Molotov. They want to prevent Yell from taking that peek, and they do so. Eats a lot of damage for his trouble. It almost felt like they wanted to chase him down, but their own Molotov kind of prevented that. And especially the follow-up smoke. Taco again just being a nuisance, lurking over towards door, an active lurk. He wants them to know he's there. Even with a double op setup, instead of putting an emphasis towards mid, which Luminosity's largely kind of ignored ever since the early stages of this game, they've got 3 players in A. That's a good opening kill for Yell. Op onto Fur in A main. Next up, the challenge would be Fallen if he wants to.
This A bomb site, though, is very heavily stacked with Luminosity players. 2 within the site, 2 coming up highway. It is going to be tricky. Fallen's the first man out. He has to be careful. As Yell resides up in the rafters, he's going to find himself a second. Fallen slipped by into the back line, but he only gets 1. And now Bolts, he's rained in some damage. Cold Zera as well, sneaking in through mid, and no one sees this coming. There is Showtime nearby. Cold Zera has done it all. He's opened up with 2. Now it is just Showtime left. He's gone on this lengthy flank. But surely they must expect something of this proportion. Cold Zera has seen no one. Bolts has seen no one. Ooh, Showtime made some noise. Now they know where he is. He's been able to get 1 and the second onto Bolt. Showtime. He pulls it back for Luminosity as they get themselves a 4th round and look to try and get back into this game.
It's one of those scenarios where I think SK kind of outplayed themselves in that 2-on-1. Why not plant the bomb? I mean, Cold Zera came from highway, got 2 kills. You know he's not going to be there. You haven't seen him anywhere towards truck. You might as well just get the bomb planted and play and get in your post-plant situations. But either way, tough to fault them. SK's pretty much progressed to the point where not only does Cold Zera usually have Taco buddied up with him, but Cold Zera, I mean, they're content to just let Cold Zera take the whole round off until the very end, and he almost pulls it in their favor. Luminosity with 4 players stacked at A, just barely able to contain that hit. That's got to be a worrying feeling if you're a Luminosity player. And once again, their round win comes at the cost of 4 of their own, so the money can't build up. Backs against the wall in terms of economy. Taco jumping across, spots the head of Yell. Some aggression towards the B-bomb site for Luminosity this time as well. It's Showtime and Nekkers stacked up on the box right outside of the site, right by the vents.
Up there for Taco. Yeah, for SK right now, on this default. Managed to get control of mid once again. Yeah, you imagine going to be the man to keep an eye on that up towards A. Looking down range. Fallen's the one to try and take the peek. The bait comes in from Fur. Now, if Yell repeaks this angle, there's no way Fallen gives us up. Flash goes out. That's going to allow Yell to be the one to take up this position, locking down mid. Showtime's boosted up in the vents. So close to spotting Cold Zera there. Oh, I think he has. There you go. Spot of the head. Breaks the vent. Cold Zera's down. Now Fur's alone up on highway, but Fur comes pouncing out. Yells in with the trade. The remaining players start to make their way in. It's Nekkers to peek on out, in with 1, and the second. Bolts goes down. And Nekkers in with the late flank out from Forklift, gets the job done.
Not even sure that SK had a chance to win that round. The clock was running so low. I think when the final kill came out, there were only 4 seconds on the clock. Not even sure they would have been make it into the bomb site. SK's, this is 2 rounds in a row now. They've been caught off guard by the sheer number of players that Luminosity has at that A bomb site. I would imagine at some point SK's got to transition back towards B to keep them honest, because Luminosity is really, really stacking up there. And no matter how good your hit is, like, it's just so difficult to get through all those numbers, especially when you don't expect it, because you can see, once they realize where like 1 or 2 players are, they don't even consider forklift, because why would you when you've spotted out 2 defenders already? So SK's got to find a way to prevent Luminosity from stacking up one of these sites, is the way they've been doing.
I mean, they've been very good at doing damage with these pistols as well, keeping Luminosity's economy modest, but it looks like that comes to an end now. A flawless round for Luminosity. I think that was much needed to help bolster this CT side economy. PKL and Cello both going to keep these SMGs out. Buy going to be coming from SK. And it's not perfect. I mean, they're pretty limited in terms of utility. I think we've got 5 smokes at least, 3 Molotovs. Only 2 flashbangs, though. And a Galil up on Cold Zero, so he takes the hit in terms of the firepower. It looks like it might just be a fast B as they make their way over here. You've got Showtime, though, with that second AWP, honing down the angle.
That angle's going to disappear with the smoke, and he's almost got the timing. Just an extra second of hesitation. Pop flash through. Taco's got great positioning. There's a good kill from Showtime. Needs to follow it up. Taco can't get that kill, and that might just seal the round. It was an opportunity, a small opportunity, and it disappeared so quickly. Neck is blind, low HP, but he still does great damage onto Fallen in a 1-on-3. The bomb is in the open, and it's cleaned out. So a surprise play from SK, picking up the pace, picking up the aggression. And Luminosity is able to kind of swat it away. Great drop down from Neckes here. Great kill onto Cold Zero bolts, and later on, great damage onto Fallen.
Now, I mean, for SK, things get a little bit more tricky. They're going to be partial buying in. Deagle's bought up, CZ for bolts, and the Scout for Fallen. Now, Fallen, bit of a beast with the Scout. There you go, just as you got to talk about it. Does drop Showtime. That's the AWP down. Or one of for Luminosity. EL, the man who we normally associate with the AWP, he's actually gone for the AK this time around. Does find good damage. Drops out Fur. And now he's been reunited with the trusty AWP. And he's going to look to take that over towards Truck.
Well, all that's left for SK is to group up and try and make something happen. Maybe hope Fallen's going to get you another pick. They are boosted up. Neck is jumping behind the box, but he's being very cautious with how he peeks this. It will get sketchy if they're able to close the gap on him, but he's aware of it. He spots it out too early. There's only 1 defender at that B-bomb site, Cello in checkers. Thankfully, the bomb is over at A. Here's a pop flash in through the smoke. Neckes comes in. He wants to find the information. He spots bolts. He needs that kill, but he's not going to get it. Spray goes a little wild. And that's a lot of pressure on PKL. Fallen just waiting for a peek of some kind.
Luminosity, they put themselves in a very tricky spot. PKL's just been tagged, and now they've lost Cello. Yelis displays attention between A and mid. He does get rid of Taka, but he doesn't expect Cold. Zera Fallen finishes off PKL. And you just can't count SK out, even with a broken buy. They managed to get the job done. Fallen, the man who opened it all up with that Scout, he is terrifying with it.
It's just unreal, like the small things he does to like gain any kind of advantage, like just running, essentially just like running in place, making the footsteps. I think the player at Truck could hear that, but then shooting the Scout, forcing PKL into a peek for information towards Highway, so then he knows. Then he knows exactly where his opponent is. Taco and Cold Zero doing a nice bait in the connector to get the Deagle kill onto the Truck player. Just really, really good understanding, SK Gaming, and obviously Luminosity having trouble handling it in these 2 maps, but they're sitting pretty nice at the moment, 7-6. Cello's committed here. He wants to go through the smoke. Fallen knows he's there, but Cello wins it out in the end. Almost a follow-up onto Bolts. A lot of damage exchanged from both sides early on in a 4-on-4. Showtime is down to 2, but Fur is down to 39 and Bolts at 29, so not necessarily an advantage either way.
I'm going to be relying on Neckes as they go for this bait and switch. Only on 2 HP, can't afford to get spotted. It's such an easy angle to pre-fire, and Bolts, he checks it. Of course he does. Now Neckes the man to try and pick up the pieces. He only gets one before he'll be shut down. And now, poor PKL.
Man, there's no free kills against SK. It's so heartbreaking. Even when Bolts gets that kill and he swings out into the open, that player up top finds it, and he just tries to bail out, just tries to survive, and coldzera pounces. They're always ready. Such a grinding game against SK. coldzera again leading the scoreboard 15-9. This time it's Nekaz. Yell at the champion of Cobble for Luminosity at 10 frags, but Nekaz at 15. He had a great couple of games yesterday. It was very impressive, I thought. It'll be 2 in a row for SK off the back of that win with the pistols, and these 2 guns are very valuable for Luminosity into the last round because they're not going to have too much else. Yell will be able to drop a UMP, I believe, and that might be the next strongest weapon that they have. Or FAMAS if you wanted.
Now as the FAMAS dropped over for Cello. Going to try and spread these weapons across the team. Cello takes the hit, he's on the CZ. Everyone else, they've got something to work with at least. And now I'm curious to see what they do with Yell. You imagine you're going to look to try and put him in a more catalyst role to actually try and open things up in this round. And
it's what they did on Cobble when we had this exact conversation when the AWP was pretty much one of the few weapons they were able to bring into a round. They got him aggressive on B platform to find a pick on a Fallen. This time it's Nekaz who's going to make the play, sneaking through the smoke, but it is Yell with the opening kill. Look at this flank though coming in. Nekaz is about to ruin somebody's day. That's coldzera, and that's a big-time frag to get. That's going to help out massively. There it is. It's easy.
Fallen is able to trade back, and that's pretty massive. They deal with Nekaz very quickly over in the back line. Cello lies in way over here at B. First been tagged within inches of death, though, up in main. Taco just won't leave Squeaky Door alone. Still going to be tapping on it. Fallen, meanwhile, over here at B. The rest of the team make noise at A. He's going to smoke off CT. Has to be careful. If he goes down, that's the bomb dropped, and this could be a Luminosity round. Cello hiding out in checkers. Fallen hasn't checked it. Cello drops him. That's the bomb down, and now Fur and Taco, they have to try and fight to get it back. Yell's actually going to get caught trying to rotate towards Truck, and now he's out in the open. That Molotov pins him in and somewhat seals his fate. Surely there's no way he survives. He does drop one. Leaving this on Taco, 12 HP.
I'm curious why Fallen was the one initiating action with the AWP when he had 2 of his teammates without the bomb over towards the A bomb site, and he's alone with the bomb towards B. Maybe just trying to do something and then fall back and rotate back towards A once his teammates made that play, but regardless, it doesn't pan out. 8-7 for Luminosity. They do hang on. It was looking dicey there after the pistol round. SK was able to rattle off a good amount before LG recovered. But it's a good half overall for them on the CT side. We'll see what they can do on the offense. Started out with this brilliant pistol round from Showtime and PKL.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Luminosity, they're the ones who win out the half. An 8-7 scoreline. Can't be too disappointed with that fact. Of course, it was almost across-the-board prediction that said SK would win this out. And make sure you have a look now at the ADR. Nekaz top of the board for Luminosity, highest in the server. 129 ADR, 16-10. Bolts coming in clutch for SK, along with coldzera. They're kind of, coldzera much the typical name that you'd expect to see near the top of the board. Bolts doing a good job of pulling his own weight as well.
Yeah, damage is quite nice. Furs had a pretty quiet night. He didn't have a great cobblestone either. Obviously, Taco, we mentioned earlier, I think it took him about 5 or 6 rounds to get a kill into this game. So 6-13 for him. This will be interesting because, I mean, you'd say there's no more masterful team in the game than SK Gaming, but the CT side of Cash has really confused and confounded plenty of teams throughout the timeline of CSGO. So we'll see how they're going to approach this one. They need to have a very big half. The world is watching.
That was a nice little plug, Jason. It really fit with the theme. I loved it. Here we go. Luminosity now on the T side. It's going to be aggression over here towards B. Showtime. Ooh, it's a messy fight, but Showtime wins it out. That's a massive advantage taken. Taco, you think he might get something done there, but he's going to fall at the hands of PKL, and now it is just one man inside of this B bomb site. It's going to be coldzera He's got his work cut out for him, able to go ahead and find the first. Surely there's no way he gets more done. He will be dropped. And then Yell going to get rid of Bolts on the flank. Luminosity, who went out the pistol round, and on the back of that, you imagine now they could very easily spring ahead to an 11-7 scoreline.
Yeah, looking good for him so far, although the scout is going to be out on coldzera. That'll be dropped over to Fallen. coldzera, the most epic of all support players. Fur and Bolts, Armor and CZs. Ooh, what's going on here? Flying close behind the smoke. Gonna get a boost going on, tapping through. Bolts taking damage, down to 64. They're just gonna give up on that idea. Wants to get aggressive. Showtime spotted him out, but not willing to commit too much to that fight. Such is the respect that Fallen demands. It's passive all across the board from Luminosity after some of that early pressure. And Yell can see blood on the boxes, so he knows he's tagged somebody up.
Aggression continuing over towards B, while the three other players for SK batten down the hatches over here at this A bomb site. Down goes coldzera now for Fallen. Things get a bit tricky. He's got an entire platoon of Luminosity players coming his way and 1 HP. We say it's good with the scout, but even then for him, that's going to be a difficult situation to be in. SB bomb site comes tumbling down, and now for SK, you imagine the decision is just to try and save what they've got on these three players and have another go at it in this next round. Yeah, absolutely. See if Luminosity get lured into a chase, and then all of a sudden you can punish them with 2 or 3 kills. I don't think that'll happen. I think Luminosity is saying that they'll want to bring those into the next round as well. No reason to lose them here. Oh, I love this run boost. Whoop. It never looks like it's going to work. It always looks like he's just going to like face plant into the side of that floorboard or the rafters. I really hope we get to see them bring that out in an actual round, though. I think it's something that catches a lot of teams off guard. But, yeah, I mean, the issue is you're just so exposed when you do it, right? So, like, the only time you're ever going to bring that out is if you take the B site super cleanly. But now's the chance for them to make that much more money. The UMPs in that previous round kind of went a bit mental on those 3 remaining players that look to try and save. And they're going to have another chance at doing exactly that. Fallen saving up for the AWP. Going to be able to get that in the next round. That was thanks to coldzera dropping the scout over. Going to be a stack over here towards A. There's one flash. They might try just forcing the agenda, making their way in towards A main. On the back of the flash. And Bolt's going to get run boosted up. We've seen 2 run boosts across 2 rounds. Love to see that. I think they might know he's there. They might have heard a footstep right at the end. I think he made a noise. We'll see. Honestly, this might not even be their end game. They're still spread across the map. Plenty of Molotovs going out. Here they are. They're swinging wide. They have no idea he's there. They haven't checked it whatsoever, but he's only got a USP. Hasn't pounced quite yet. There he is. Cello finds it on the top. coldzera still doing work with the P250, though. Not able to salvage a rifle, unfortunately, and it's only a matter of time as he's out of bullets. So 11-7. Luminosity takes a decent lead here early in the second half. We'll see if SK can respond immediately. It's almost deja vu in reverse to Kabul, right? Where this was a scoreline. I believe that SK had the lead in the second half over Luminosity, and if they win this round, it just gets to that point where your economy isn't strong enough to really make a great stand. So SK Gaming a bit more danger than you might think. Yeah, pressure's definitely on now. And Fallen, well, he's going to be holding mid. He has that AWP. Doesn't have utility to go behind it, and that's kind of a worrying factor. Very important to have that smoke down. Oh, Fur. That is going to hurt. Yell finds him early on, and that's the man advantage secured. The aggression denied. And now that puts pressure on these other bomb sites, especially Fallen over in mid. It kind of comes, do you keep him here or do you rotate him off to try and help up towards A? And as he gets smoked off, that kind of seals his fate, at least for the time being. It's not a good answer. Cache is a very difficult map to recover from, from a man down on the CT side. Your defense is already spread thin even when you have 5 players, and to do it with 4, I mean, you can see here, it pretty much gives mid control over to Luminosity automatically, and now Taco's all alone at B. That's a nice double kill. He needs to go for 3, but timing's not with him. He looks away. He has brought into a 3-on-3 and given him a chance, and the retake is on very quickly, although coldzera is shut down and Fallen can't convert.
And there's Showtime jumping in. There is a smoke on Yell. It hadn't been deployed, so small mistake there. And a gap in that smoke. How much attention can fall in a tract? And he almost lands the shot. Bolts some damage over to Yell, and the bomb's still on the ground.
Yeah, it's not landed in a very good spot. And in the panic of that smoke going down, they have left a gap right where the bomb is. Yell's just able to dart out and get it, so the bomb plant will come in. And they're going to go running on into this. It catches them off guard. Cello's not ready. They both peek into him. He finds himself the first. Cello's going to get it done as he mops up both players at the end. How on earth has he done that?
That's so nice. Great control of the recoil, especially because his initial flight failed. You gotta do it. You feel like he's just gonna fall. Once he doesn't get this kill right there and he's got to transfer up, that is great. The vertical transfer right to the head of Bolts and crushing for SK to fight themselves back into that round. Now they're gonna be CZs, 5 smokes, 1 flashbang onto Fallen as well. They've one more opportunity of a gun round for SK coming up in the next round. Although Cello, after that clutch, is feeling very confident, very deep into mid already, and Fallen with the shoulder peek spots him out. Taco's going to peek from CT mid. Cello being the only one here doesn't want to risk too much. He's content with the information. He has 2 players occupied. And Fallen's going to try and take this gun away. Being boosted up, Nekis is going to bail his buddy out. 5-on-3 advantage. And this time there's no M4 to get a double kill towards B to give him a chance. It's only CZs.
Luminosity, they've slowed right down. Bolts taking up position over here in Z. Luminosity grouping up over at main. They've got Cello in mid. He can look to come in late, or perhaps wait and see if rotations do come through Z. All the pressure's on Fur. He's over at Forklift. PKL didn't actually spot him there. I thought he might have done that. Molotov they're going to be used to burn him out. They do drop Bolts as he rotates on in. That's Cello on that late lurk in mid. coldzera able to drop Cello out of the equation. He's going to take that all day long. That's an AK to take it to the next round.
All Luminosity needs to do is group up with all 4 and just pick a site to hit. And that's exactly what they've done. Because no matter where they go, they know they have a 4-on-1 situation. Because coldzera got the kill. PKL's going to open things up, but if not, there was plenty of people to trade him off. coldzera likely to save this AK-47. Got ourselves a game here as Luminosity starts to run away with it. It's going to be 13-7. And this next buy round for SK is almost their last gasp. You hate to say it.
I mean, I hate to say, you know, I predicted this, Jason. There was a lot of thought that went into it.
Remember the first time I got a prediction right?
Yeah,
I was
I know.
very proud as well.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Welcome to the party.
I can't wait. Here we go. I mean, there's still time for it to all go wrong. And I'll remain a prediction virgin.
That one's too easy. You've really lobbed one out there for me to knock out of the park. I'm going to leave it alone. I'll spare you.
I figured. I thought if I made it so easy for you, you wouldn't take the bait.
I'll spare you on this one. 13-7. Off is back in Fallen's hands. Yell's got his as well, and there's so much money built up on the Luminosity side. 10,000, over 10,000 for PKL, 4,600 for Nekis, 7,200 for Showtime. They can buy for days. coldzera and Taco over towards the B bomb site. 3 players from Luminosity there initially. Taco trying to find a nade timing, not going to do much. The boost coming out again. So this will allow the defense on a map like Cache. One of the reasons why defense is so tough is because you have to have such a fluid defense in terms of, you know, very reactive defense into what's coming. And having someone boosted up gives you that confidence and that safety. So clever play in towards checkers. coldzera and Taco were sandwiched, but as coldzera turns around, he's killed from mid. They're going to rotate up towards A, and this is the kryptonite for the boost. Is play towards highway. Fur's got one. He's going to drop down. Oh, this is clever repositioning. That's going to scare Luminosity, actually. Like, they don't know where to go anymore.
Yeah, on top of that, you've got to be fearing for PKL's life right now. I mean, he's already cleared 1 player out in the boost. And usually you don't expect this kind of double connector hold that we've seen. Taco just hiding away. Now he takes the peek out, and that's that late trade. They just spot the bomb as well on the back of Showtime. He mustn't go down here. He takes the fight. And he's actually able to win that out. That's very important. Bolts is the last man left. It's a 1 versus 3. He's got Yell to worry about. He's going to go running past that Molotov. Tries to take the fight to him. The bomb's actually wrapped all the way back around to A. And Yell, luckily enough, ducks on down. Has to try and hide away. But Bolts is doing the damage. He's not out of this just yet. You kind of get that feeling.
Poor Bolts. If he gets that kill on Yell, that's a very doable 1-on-2. And it was oh so close. Just couldn't control the recoil well enough. Another AWP coming out for SK. What can they get around this? It's going to be a pause, I assume, from SK. Tactical to talk things over with this potentially last buy they'll have in this game. Luminosity set for... Oh, no, it's Luminosity timeout. All right. So they want to talk things over. They want to make sure they don't drop the ball here right at the end. They've got the lead. They've got their foot on the SK Gaming throat, and they want to ensure that it gets closed out.
Very graphic picture there that you painted for us. Foot on the throat. That's like a good old-fashioned curb stomping that you're sort of... yes, why the foot? Not even the hand. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, they're poised pretty close to the end here, Jason. 14-7. Buy's going to be coming in from SK. And they had a little bit of time there to talk that over, courtesy of the pause from Luminosity. And I want to see what the plan is here for Luminosity. Do they switch things up, or do they stick to tried and tested? For SK, at least, it's going to be aggression early on in mid. Fur, he hasn't had much success. I don't think we've seen him get a kill in this entire second half, which is always...
Really?
Yeah, I think he came into it on 5, and he's still on 5. He might have gotten one in the last few rounds.
Bloody hell.
Which is very unlike Fur, and Fur's kind of the guy who throws the crazy stuff into the mix for SK, and if he's struggling to do that, that is a pretty big problem for SK
it's
game.
Not ideal for SK, is it? Well, this time he's in a position. He's aggressive under the boost, but he can kind of pick and choose depending on where the action goes, when he wants to pounce and try and push up towards mid to get a flank. There's going to be a lot of pressure towards this B bomb site. Position Taco's in as well. He's got a Molotov and a flashbang, but he might not choose to use it. It's just a very awkward scenario. Using that utility might give away your position depending on when it comes out, but here comes Luminosity. They want to start taking things, and yeah, Taco just has to play gun out at this point. Molotov's flashbang smokes rain over. He's going to peek out. He gets a dink, but he gets taken down. One player in the site. It's coldzera with the AWP. Can he answer the call again? There's the first. Still alive over at headshot, transitioning in, getting some cover. Taking a new angle, spots the barrel. Teammate coming through, but he misses that shot. That might spell his doom. Bolts bails him out, though. He's still alive. He's still surviving, and he's still getting headshots onto Nekas. Yell over towards the stairs, and another missed shot. It's not the prettiest hold we've seen out of him, but it still works. It's all good. 1-on-1 for PKL, trying to cross over into the site. No idea where Bolts is. 8 seconds left. He's got to stick it, and there's the peek.
That was so close. Luminosity, they're going to be kicking themselves. I mean, the one good thing they've still got to take away from that is only one man survived. That was Bolts. He was able to carry the AWP forward, which is good. They've still got money to buy for Luminosity. And this buy from SK isn't going to be above and beyond that much better than what we saw in the previous round. In fact, I guess you could say it's even worse. Now Fallen doesn't have armor to go behind that AWP. The MP9's still out for Taco. He's not able to catch a break. Zara's gone ahead and got himself into a bit of a sneaky spot over here in mid, though.
Very sneaky spot in mid. He's got Taco, oddly enough. Taco's at sandbags with an MP9 watching the boost. That's not the most ideal weapon at that range. Fallen with the AWP playing very passively, a retake in B, perhaps having some confidence that because he's got 2 teammates in mid, they can have a fast rotate through vents if needed. Molotovs come out. This is a nice position. You can see the Molotov doesn't touch coldzera, who's elevated over it, so they likely think that position is clear. Seeing no one escape from it. It's going to be another hit towards the B bomb site. This might be the winning call, because as I said, an AWP playing retake, it gets neutralized very easy. It's going to be all about how they handle vents, and there is a player boosted up. That's Cello. His job is to prevent anyone from getting towards the vents. Over the smoke, Fallen can't get the shot, not expecting that angle. And Cello can just be patient. There it is, onto Taco as he tries to make his way, but coldzera gets the kill. It's all right, he's done his job, in SK Gaming, they're going to save this round. They're not going to go for it whatsoever. So Luminosity on map point, 15-8. They're going to have 7 chances to close things out.
Yeah, and at this point, it's looking good for them, but they can't get too complacent. SK are a team that we say can come back from anything, and as we learned from our overtime game yesterday between Splice and Complexity.
Why are you bringing that up?
Nothing is impossible.
Why don't you just let that one fade out of our memories?
Well, I try, but I have nightmares about it every single night, Jason. I relive.
Yeah, the one night since this happened, you have a 100% nightmare success rate?
100% nightmare ratio. So, I mean, there's still time, especially seeing as this is SK. This isn't, a matchup they want to be losing. It's a domestic matchup, and they're always kind of the most feisty. At the same time, I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether we see Fur wake up. He has gotten 1 kill on this CT side, which, I kind of hate highlighting that, but, I mean...
it's an important thing to note, just because, I mean, you're right, his aggression on other maps and through, the majority of last year, and the way he plays the game just has so much influence on SK's victories, on the way they can approach these maps. So when he's silent, you can kind of tell that they're forced to be a little bit more passive. They don't have as much information. They don't have any advantages. So certainly been put back just a little bit. He's saving it for the upcoming tournament circuit, perhaps.
Well, this is it. Do or die for SK Gaming. Fur's gone aggressive over here in main, but Fallen, he's already gone ahead to be dealt with down in mid. coldzera. Now, all eyes go onto him as Cello up here in the vents. Might decide to try and dip on down. Fallen's going to get spotted by Neckers if he continues pushing on up, but he gets a lot of information on the back of this play. That's something you kind of highlighted a lot. You've lost a man down in middle. There's no information in mid. You have to try and make up for that elsewhere, and that's where Fur does come in.
Yeah, but he's got such a big job to do. We've seen people playing this spot a number of times in these past few days on this map, and it's usually just a one-and-done spot. This time, it's not even that. Not even a bullet is fired. And because they all started to rotate away because of his advanced positioning, Bolts can't even make it into the bomb site. He just gets shut down right at truck. This is it. Luminosity has pulled off the upset in this second map in the set. Quite nice from them. It'll be 16-8.
Yeah, coldzera 1v4, 15 HP. This would be one for the history books, Jason. It doesn't look to be the case as... yeah, there you go. PK able to finish him off. Luminosity, they win out cash. And, I mean, some people didn't believe. The one thing that I find funny is that...
there he is.
Everyone was kind of on the back of Pimp for predicting the 1-1. He tried to change it to 2-0, and we didn't let him. And I guess, we can give him this one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We're certainly going to give it to Luminosity. Oh, we're all here. All the family. This is like an episode of the Brady Bunch.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Yeah.
Take it away, Trace.
No, we're not going to give him any ground to stand on.
Because you went 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately a great showing there from the Luminosity side. I mean, where do we even want to pick this thing off? By not giving Pimp credit was where I actually wanted to start.
Yeah,
please have our go.
I can continue on that trend. Obviously, Pimp went with SK to win this, convincingly. To give him some benefit, he did say that this would probably be, a place where Luminosity could put up a good fight, and indeed they did. They ended up grabbing the win, and all together. One of the things that was obviously a big difference from what we saw yesterday is just all these fundamental errors, especially on their CT side, which we got to see more of this time around versus Renegades. Like they had good rotations coming in when they were actually trying to basically halter pushes in towards the B bomb side, for instance. You had everyone kind of working in tandem, like Nekis when it came down in from drop room. Same thing with Showtime. It's all synergized. It's not just necessarily one guy dropping off a flash into nothingness and then nothing coming out of it. It's actually planned out, well thought through, well communicated, and that's when you see results like this.
For sure, they didn't drop the ball at any point in that game. They played well the entire game, and they just kept on doing their thing. And I want to say one thing though for this Luminosity team, it's cash, and it has been one of the best maps for a long time. And the way they played against SK this time, that's a really strong performance they're coming out with. 16-7 against Fnatic. That's not a against SK. That's not something to not go ham about. To be honest, we talked a little bit about in the green room, you and I. Fur hasn't been too great as of lately. Maybe too soon to call it a slump, but. his start of 2018 and his ending to 2017 were not as good as you would expect from a guy like I consider one of the best players in the world.
Well, not a player that's known to be lethal. I mean, a guy in the server, one of the last ones you want to see come across your HUD ID, right? Like it's one of those guys that when he's coming for you, he's coming for you.
Yeah, and just playing against Fer just constantly makes you nervous, I think, because he has that aggressive playstyle. So you just know it can show up at any given point anywhere on the map, and it's gonna potentially wreck you. And it was one of the things I talked about in the pregame, the fact that it's something that Luminosity has to be aware of, the fact that you can find a wild Fer appears at any random point of the map, and they dealt with that very, very nicely. Obviously, it could also be down to the fact that Fer himself just didn't have a good game, but give credit where credit is due. Luminosity were definitely prepared for what SK had to throw at them.
And I mean, equally as important would be finding yourself between two Fers. You see that I reached for it there, guys.
I mean, I'll give you it, but
between two Ferns. Okay,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. I'm sorry. It's a little early in the morning, 4 o'clock to be exact. A guy that really sticks out to me on the other side of the equation there would be Showtime. Showtime had a tremendous showing here within the set. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys saw.
I mean, he's supposed to be their sort of like Bolts, I'd say, like their rock solid player, and he's never a player that stands out too much. I'd say this game he had a wonderful game, and let's not forget that he used to play with these guys. He was a stand-in for SK for 3 or 4 months, and even though that's over a year ago, like he still like learned something from that. When you get inside the team, when you get under the skin, you get to learn all these small tendencies, the way they communicate, the way they act in certain situations. It helps you out in some ways, and I think Showtime showed that he has the potential to still be the great player that we expected him to be, like a year ago when he joined SK as a stand-in. That didn't go out as well as we all wanted it to, or they wanted it to, but he still has some great skill, and in terms of the role he has in Luminosity, he's actually quite skilled, for just being that rock-solid player. If he keeps improving and he keeps involving his gameplay, there's no saying that he can't be as good as Bolts in the future.
And another positive note really for Luminosity is the fact that probably the quietest player we've had out of the entire team so far up till this point was PKL, and he also delivered a fantastic game here today. Obviously really tough to do when you're the in-game leader, you're going up against a team that knows your tendencies of your players and so on very, very well. So, throughout the first 4 games we've seen Luminosity play, each and every individual on that side have actually had very positive signs to show for.
Now, a young man that sticks out to me would be Yell. I mean, this guy's hitting flicks across the world. I felt these flicks. Sometimes when you watch some of these frags and it's like, okay, that guy just got shot so bad that, it's like one of those, you hit it in MM, you're like, hey, man, sorry, I didn't mean to do you like that, But Yell hitting flicks out of his mind today.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a great talent, first of all. Like, he does play the AVP role, and you have Fallen over there, so his chances of ever joining SK are pretty much non-existent, right? So he has to make the best out of it where he plays for Luminosity. He's a guy that has been up and coming for some time now. Even though LG half a year ago, I'd even say a year ago, we didn't expect anything from them. We thought they were just the placeholders. We thought they were the ghosts of this Pro League team. Now they're involved into being quite a decent team, I'd say. And judged by the two matches we've seen so far, one against Renegades and one against SK, these teams that are pretty good, and they got 2 wins off them. That's a pretty impressive start to that season. And Yell in particular played well in pretty much all 4 maps. So if they can keep that going, and if he can keep that going, then there's definitely potential for much more.
Yeah, sustainability is going to be the key word really for Luminosity going forward. And like whenever we have a look at them, whether or not they can, basically recreate what we've seen in the first 2 days here. Because obviously parts of it we don't want to see again. Cash versus Renegades. Let's leave that to for another day.
It's a slow start.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can bring out what we saw versus SK today, or the cobble that we saw versus Renegades yesterday, then that's definitely solid building blocks to go forward with.
Well, we do have one more set for you at home, the viewer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, come on down. We're going to be jumping a little Rogue and Splice when we come back from this break. Make sure you're here with us. We got 2 more maps for you left for the night.